I'll call this one retirement, sort of. As Jordan, my son Jordan, took over the operation and responsibility of MarketNet Team Store, it was time for me to step aside. It was kind of enough to tell my presence and direction was welcome and even needed it sometimes. So he allowed me to continue working on my terms. I felt 30 hours a week was good. I needed it. I had a tough time turning the switch off. You know, when you do something every day, all these years, you just don't close the door and walk away. At least I did. So he allowed me to continue working on my terms. It felt good. I needed it. It kept my mind and my body busy and gave me a purpose in life that I had had for many years. Because I did the 9 to 5 all those years, it was almost impossible to just turn it off. So I'm still, well, even as I do this, helping out, not working, helping out at Team Store. Playing all kinds of fun and interesting roles with my son and watching him do an exceptional job in taking the business that I started to another better level that I should have never done. He's been amazing. So I'll call this God's plan becomes a little clearer. Now you may recall in my cancer story, I mentioned that I felt God left me here for another of his purposes. Well, in 2016, I happened to meet a retired Army Major General who had started an organization called Military Outreach USA. He started this to help homeless veterans move into government-sponsored homes. He was a very dedicated Christian man, and his mission taught me. I guess that's the part where I said, this may be the reason God didn't let cancer take me home yet. He needed some help expanding his organization. I volunteered to help out along with my brother Dan, our veteran friend Pat Sweeney, and Bob Haas. We have managed to recruit our fellow grateful citizens and have raised over $1 million in donations over the last, 10, 12 years to assist homeless veterans. I am a veteran, but not homeless, so I know again the benefits. I wanted to help those that didn't have as much as I had. Truly, once again, I am blessed with a purpose and an ability to use my time and talents in response to God's gift. That retirement thing was just not for me, so I'm spending a lot of my time trying to improve the Homeless Veterans Program. Like so many other things in life that I've learned in all of these years, more often than not, when you give freely of yourself, you get back 100-fold or 1,000-fold or 1,000,000-fold. I had so much happiness from doing this project with my 3 friends, and giving back to those who served our country. Later, as an active member of my Catholic parish, St. Thomas of Villanova in Palatine, I was asked to present a couple of different homilies. Homilies are the speeches that you give during Mass to the congregation. So I did 2 of them. If you accept my religious beliefs that God is the supreme being and the creator of all things, then the rational extension is that all things come from God and belong to God. We are just His stewards, responsible for those things on a temporary basis while we're here. We are given things from God that are responsible to make good use of them. We also have a responsibility to share what we have with others. Note that the Bible passage, again, Luke 12:48, that I said earlier, to those who have been given much. That's stewardship, and all of us need to embrace it, the idea and the help that we can. We need to leave this earth better than when we arrived. One of the homilies that I presented was on Father's Day, a number of years ago. And it goes like this. According to today's gospel, Luke tells another story of trust. How Jesus taught his apostles about his Father's love. His love for his Son, Jesus, and his love for them. Jesus put his trust in the apostles when he asked the question, "Who do you say I am?" He trusted the apostles to know the correct answers. The message I got from the gospel was trust. In 1961, my father bought a beautiful, brand new Chevrolet convertible. Woo-wee! He was very proud of his achievements. Yes, ma'am, a working man who was able to buy a brand new fancy car like that. Shortly after he bought it, he let me drive it. He trusted me enough to let me drive it. I didn't fully understand it at the time, his trust, but I certainly do now. In 1969, my Heavenly Father gave me the first of my two sons. He, my Heavenly Father, trusted me enough to give me the responsibility for the most precious commodity in all of creation, a human being with a soul. 2 years later, he blessed me once again with a second son, Jordan. I didn't fully understand his trust all the time, but I do now. I was young, on active military duty, but I really wasn't as apprehensive of fatherhood as many of my peers were. It was simply the process. You grew up, you got married, you had children. That's the way it was. Also, I had my father as the image I carried for what constituted a really good father. My father was a self-educated, street-smart kind of a guy. He had quite a few favorite sayings that I still find myself reciting to this day. My father set a wonderful example of what a man, a Christian, a father, and a husband should be. And frankly, the example he set made it appear that just being a father wasn't really that difficult. He did it with ease and skill. However, in doing so, he set the bar quite high. All I needed to do was protect my sons, provide a roof over their head, some food, some clothing, love them. Come on. Make sure they were educated, guide them in the right direction, and consistently reaffirm my beliefs and my values. They will just pick this up and take it from there to adulthood. How tough can this be? I learned that answer. To me, being a good father was the most important job in the whole world. And I had the success, and I had to be successful at it. There were no options. They were young lives that God had entrusted to me. I had to do it right. In the gospel of the day, we're also told to deny ourselves, take up our cross, and tackle each day's struggles, clothed in the protection and love of Jesus. Certainly, that directive encompasses a big part of fatherhood, because the struggles can be daily. Struggles like losing a night's sleep with a sick child, giving up sleeping in to see a 5-year-old ball game, or waiting patiently for your child to pull into the garage. Yeah. Well, it appears there were some of my father's secrets that Dad neglected to tell me. I, of course, tried to emulate my father, and for the first 5 years, I had to give me direction and advice. For the first 5 years, I had him to give me direction and advice as to how I was doing. Then, one very bad day, God called my father home. I tear up trying to tell the story now. I lost my mentor. Life became a lot scarier for me. Shortly after that, my marriage ended in divorce. I no longer lived with my sons. I no longer had the daily contact, that daily opportunity to show by example and verify the results. As closely as I tried to stay involved in their daily activities, their schooling, their morals, their values, the task became very challenging. It was becoming more and more difficult to be a father, the father I wanted to be, the father I needed to be. I lost my family, my father, and my faith, frankly, at the time. I thought God was punishing me. I don't know why. My faith life took a real bad turn. However, with the truly unconditional love of my Heavenly Father and the patience and love of my earthly family, I came to realize I was taking the wrong path. A direction that would certainly turn out bad for me, and most importantly, bad for my sons. Put in here a note that said, for those of you who find yourself in that position today, don't lose faith. Don't give up. Don't let a failed marriage keep you from your children. That would be the worst failure. So I asked for God's help and worked hard to be a displaced father. I came to fully understand that trust that God had put in me. He knew me better than I did. I learned, once again, to rely on the love of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, helping me through this and through all the parts of my life. My young sons grew and matured. I didn't grow, as you can see, but I matured. Well, we all barely survived high school and the teenage years. I eventually learned to let go and enjoy their college years, and now I am very proud to say that they are both mature adults with children of their own. I can now enjoy them both as sons and as friends. We have grown into a mutual respect and a very strong mutual love. I can learn a lot from each, individually with intelligent and interesting and challenging views. In fact, one of my sons I now enjoy as a business partner. I would love to tell you that I did well in spite of the road bumps, but in all honesty, I made more than my share of mistakes. As this in my senior stage of life, I can probably recite many of them, but all through this period, my father's favorite saying rang in my head: Jim, always do your best. Even God doesn't ask for more than that. I did learn to pray a lot. I still do that for them and my grandchildren. I had a lot of help from my Heavenly Father, my loving and supportive family, as well as a whole group of folks who assisted along the way. Having said all that, I certainly don't want to scare any of you fathers that I'm speaking to today in the church. If you are in the early stages of this process called fatherhood, I would not change it all for all the riches in the world. It was worth every single moment, every enduring, every single struggle. And now, after all the good times and the challenging times, God, in His great love for fathers, bestows on many of us additional blessings. It's called being a grandfather. In yet another way, He trusts me with another of His creations. In my case, 5 healthy, smart, and beautiful grandchildren. I'm very prejudiced, you see. Happy Father's Day to each and every father, to each and every stepfather, grandfather, godfather. I pray you have a wonderful day. Enjoy. It's your special day. That was my speech on Father's Day. So, my dear grandchildren, you might ask, why did Grandpa Bata write this? Why did they do all this? Just answer simply so that you may have a little background about your father's father, as well as my father, mother, and family. A bit of background of what made you into the person you are today, and some help to get you to tomorrow, I hope. What can I possibly say to sum up the story? I've tried to put in something clever, or even insightful to finish the story. A message to you, my children's children, that would be something you would carry through your life. I'm not really that good at all that, so I decided to pass on to you the words that my father, a very wise and caring man, gave to me when I graduated from the 8th grade school, 1958. He wrote what you'll show you in a little autograph book I had. The years have tarnished the writing, but the message is still the best advice I received, and so I pass it on to you because it's still very topical. And it says, you probably can't see that, but it says, today, congratulations, Jim, to you. I'm glad you made it. My father's sense of sarcasm. Now on to bigger and greater things. Whatever you do, do it the very best you can. You will get out of life whatever you put into it. Thank you. I love you.